Hey people, Positive Paul. Here we are, Sunday, August 21st, 2022, and I'm going to do another anomaly breakdown video as it relates to these flyovers and the UFOs, these alien insectoids. And at this point, there is virtually no one on planet Earth that has been able to put up the documentation I've been posting up on social media starting back on July 14th, 2016, when the first flyover occurred down here in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, where I'm at. Now, this all relates to my involvement concerning the original MK Ultra project. In my case, I was born in 1966. This relates to my satanic ritual abuse, but more importantly, these implants and what went on out on Long Island, New York, over in Montauk between the years of 1980 and 1983, the infamous August 12th, 1983 date. Now, early on, back 2016, 2017, I didn't do a very good job of providing an explanation concerning these flyovers, as I was still trying to get a grasp on my situation. Now, the one thing early on concerning the so-called targeted individual community back then, 2016, 2017, is virtually I was the only one that would document these flyovers. Now, with that being said, back then, there were other so-called targeted individuals that would document planes or helicopters flying over their location. Richard Bruce being one, out in Los Angeles with the helicopters. Now, of course, his whole reason for being targeted was simply, as he's been stating up until this very day, is that it's for him uploading and exposing reptilian shapeshifters on YouTube. Well, boy, if that was the case, they haven't really done a very good job, because Rich, yeah, he's still allowed to operate, but see, everybody has short-term memory, because for these flyovers, a lot of what would be described would just mimic exactly what would be occurring in my videos. Now, if anybody's listened to my videos, they understand when these flyovers occur, I identify exactly what they are, what they look like. The blue underbelly, American Nazi, Edomite Jew, Satanist perp plane, or red underbelly. It's more often the blue underbelly, but the red underbelly, these particular planes, if that's what they are, sometimes they can be put into question concerning whether it's a hologram or whether it's coming in and out of a portal. But they have equipment, special equipment on there that is used to capture or reset some type of information necessary for these Satanists, these Edomite Jew Satanists, to carry on their Hollywood hybrid hack act in duping the global population that while, yes, there are good individuals trying to unravel this nightmare that we're in concerning whether or not there is this psychotic, uh, demonically driven satanic group trying to impose their will on a very weak-minded global population who they could care less about, but they will use whoever they can use to further their agenda, on whether it's depopulation, whether it's transhumanism, or whether it is just to deny the very existence of the Almighty Creator, God above, the Ancient of Days, and deny these, what could be God-fearing individuals, deny them their salvation by stealing their soul and essentially taking the creation of man and changing it into this grotesque Frankenstein abomination, to where never again will there be opposition to the satanic New World Order. So with these flyovers, what early on that these so-called targeted individuals would document, they could never ever explain why this is occurring, other than the fact that it's a mysterious government targeting program of the likes of the original MK Ultra. And they also, none of them would ever document the day, the date, the time, the location. Now, why would these details be important? Well, as I have been stating, is if you're trying to document this so-called targeting, which is adverse to your very existence, this is adverse to your very peace of mind on what it is to have freedom, liberty, and yet somehow you're unable to present these details in your documentation. Now, why does it matter? Because it matters is if there's such a thing as a legal system, a judicial system, truth, righteousness, justice, you need these details. If you used to hear way back then about how there's going to be this targeted individual class action lawsuit, or these people that are going to go to court, Barden was one of those with his big spiel, others. But if you don't have these details documented, how are you going to have credibility in a court of law and try to take these Satanists to task? Even though we know in a post-World War II world, we know these institutions, meaning judicial, legal, political, medical, psychiatric, has all been taken over by either hybrids or sellout humans who will not ever have a conscience, in the sense that if there's fairness, it's non-existent. It's non-existent. So there was the big problem. And now what you see in 2022 is that these so-called targeted individuals, this targeted individual community, no longer exist. Anybody that was around back then, it's unrecognizable. And so what you get is I don't even really, it's been a long time since I even have looked to see what's going on out there. But when you do a search, all that comes up is the same old tired garbage from, going back all the way to where this goofball, Brian 2, who pops up around 2013, just it's the same old tired garbage. There's nothing new. They can only parrot the fact that, oh, it's this mysterious targeted government program where these government agents are chasing around these so-called individuals because they're empowered individuals. They got straight A's during high school, I assume, but they're stalking them, harassing them, going into trying to get ahead of them in line in grocery stores, or they're following them around in red, white, black vehicles, and they're having exotic technology used on them, directed energy weapons. Now, we know it's all a sham. Here we are in 2022. There's no one left. They're all gone. The only one that I know that is still hanging around is this Jubilina Redeemed. Now, she's documented flyovers once in a while, but again, she's still hanging around these frauds. I don't get that. And again, with these targeted individuals, none of them ever acknowledged me. They would never make a comment. Now, let's make it clear. We know the fairy tale social media platforms are all rigged. If they want to censor somebody, like myself, it can be easily done. They create these algorithms, and if the AI doesn't pick up on something, you have these agents that control social media and what is allowed to be promoted, to get out there, allowing the public, the general public, make informed decisions on whether or not this is actually occurring. Now, we know that MK Ultra occurred. We know about Operation Paperclip. It's all been put out there. And what you see now in 2022 is, unfortunately, there's no new information. The only thing that these disinformation agents can do is keep dredging up the same tired information the original conspiracy theorist had put out there for the rest of, whether it's just a curiosity seeker, a do-gooder, someone trying to, understand what the hell is going on, or they're just bought and paid frauds, which we know across the board they exist. They're the ones that get promoted. But why would these flyovers keep occurring over me now, year after year? And it's non-existent. There is no one out there that is documenting this and can explain it and has the connections I have. High-ranking Satanist within my family members worked within the Pentagon, naval intelligence during the early 60s into the 70s. See, none of these people have these details. And what you do is, over the course of these past 7 years now that I've been documenting this, I get sent all the garbage my way in the comments section to have their cute little stupid questions or outright, just mock me. And it's amazing that there's really, unfortunately, I'm down here in Mexico, and, I try to witness to these people. They just don't want to hear it. They want to live in their little fairy tale land where we know Mexico doesn't have to get involved in anything. whether it's a world war. Yes, they do these things where they act like they're trying to better their country, but the end result is just about everybody except the criminals are hiding in their houses because they know that once they go out there and maybe try to complain about something, there's going to be an adverse effect. But in the meantime, here's the, the 55-year-old American white boy, satanic ritual abuse survivor, loaded down with implants, trying to explain to these people on why they have this phony community watch, all based off of me. They see these planes flying over, but they just ignore it. Now, my immediate family, which they don't want to hear about it, but concerning my son's mom down here in Mexico, she just doesn't want to hear about it. They don't have they don't have an understanding that the reason why America is the way it is because you have this shadowy group that behind the scenes are there's an ancient bloodline war, which is white on white, and then what they do is they use the rest of the Gentile nations to whip up what we now know is called racism, constantly dividing and conquering, while at the same time their main goal is to wipe out Jacob, wipe out Israel. Now, again, I only use Mexico as an example because I'm here. I've been coming here for over 30 years. These people are wonderful people, but they've been left behind. They've been left poor, tired, hungry, some cases uneducated. So when you try to tell them about satanic ritual abuse or these Satanists, their eyes roll back into their head. They don't know what you're talking about. Now, what it is these Satanists have been camped out down here trying to make sure my testimony doesn't get out. So they run around. First, they had the stolen car set up, which is a done deal now. It's over 8 years ago, the event, which I had virtually nothing to do with. All right. What they do is, in case you people don't know, if you're part of the original MK Ultra, all right, satanic ritual abuse, you were a female put through Monarch programming, they don't go away. They are going to find a way to beat you down, to try to eliminate you, hoping that you commit suicide. And when that doesn't happen, and they know that you're not going away, that's when the stalking and harassment occurs. But you don't find a way out of this. You may mitigate it, but the bottom line is you'll be blacklisted, unable to make money. And then down here in Mexico, that's all they know. They just need to get their hands on this Jew buck. And if it means all of a sudden joining a community watch based off the satanic ritual abuse survivor, the American satanic ritual abuse survivor, they could care less about what my problems were. Being raped, tortured as a kid, experimented on. Now, what the really crazy thing is there's no curiosity. There's not one adult down here that would even question on what's going on. Now, what I've been doing lately is I've been linking up stuff on their Facebook pages. Some of these white people that are retired, and then they're upset on what's going on down here because essentially the population explosion, which, is causing a lot of problems on top of the cartel running amok, which these American Nazi Edomite Jews control. Let's get that straight, all right? These so-called retirees, which a lot of them are Edomite Jews, they're starting these Facebook pages to complain about what's going on. So I leave comments that get removed. One of these Facebook pages got shut down, and it's amazing on why I can't find one one individual. Now, with that being said, there's people that are trying to help me, but they're poor. They're have very little resources. They know what's going on. But it's the thing of it is that I know there is not one person in the United States that can truly help me. So the way it works is back then when I was documenting the stalking, the harassment, the flyovers, and I wasn't doing a very good job at it, as this is a learning process, they would send the garbage into my comment section to mock me. Or, oh yeah, I get these flyovers. But they can't, they cannot document any details about anything, or it's occurring because MK Ultra, implants, satanic ritual abuse. How could that be, people? So what we're going to do now is, as I keep rambling, because see, this is why these videos are difficult to do. You cannot do them without getting wound up at one point, because the way that MK Ultra was dealt with is they had what they had called a church commission, which had nothing to do with MK Ultra. The real hearing was back on August 3rd, 77. Now, when you look at the list of people that were on this panel, we can clearly see who's there. Biden was there, all right? So he knows all about this. And they want to tell you that, oh yeah, we dealt with this, and then you had Clinton back in 95. But the one thing that is undeniable is why only females were coming forward, never any males concerning this, because there's a time-tested method that these Satanists used on the original group of children that were used back in the early 50s when this started up. All right? They would have been either driven crazy through harassment, stalking. They would have been blacklisted, find a way to prevent them from making money. And, you know, a lot of them would have probably took their own life because they didn't understand what had been done to them as a child. That these sicko, pedophile, disgusting American Nazi Edomite Jew scum have been working hard, keeping things in a post-World War II perspective on destroying the rest of the Abrahamic blood link. This is what it's all about. You can sit there and you could, you know, say, oh, I'm an empowered individual. I got straight A's on my high school exams. That's why I'm being hassled. Not because you've got a Satanist within your midst, either in your direct family or someone within that satanic sphere of influence that controls your family. And yes, you could be used as a pawn, but these individuals that went to this 77 hearing, if you watch this, you read the transcript, nothing's been done. Now, what's amazing is of how complex, compartmentalized the damage control program is to eliminate these individuals. And what I don't understand is why no one else can document these flyovers properly. So what we're going to do now is quickly look at a couple of them. And let's go to, let's see. Okay. This is going to be from March 11th and at 3:25 p.m. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was 3:25 p.m. March 11th, 2022. Let's... Okay. What we do first is, as I always state, you can see right here is the perp plane, but it's blurred. Now, let's see if we can get this back in. This is the difficult part in doing this, folks. And I want to get to the point where, in this particular one, there it is right there. Okay. Now, the thing with these flyovers concerning me, and I'll speak to this one dopey BitChute comment perp that's been showing up, this sugar-filled Roland, who I've determined that he has to be a bought and paid dopey comment perp, because he must not be watching these videos, or a proper examination would lead him to believe that these flyovers only occur directly over me, nowhere else, especially the helicopters. Now, what they do is, I think it's a threefold purpose thing. One is to try to drain the battery on my devices so I can no longer make videos, or they are able to use frequency jamming equipment that can literally stop these videos dead in their tracks. As you see, some of my videos just get randomly cut off, and it's not because of lack of space on my phone. I create space, but what they're able to do too is I guess because I have an older iPhone, they're able to extract information. But also, it's a reset concerning these implants. But the thing of it is, with these UFOs and these alien insectoids that are always hand in hand with these flyovers, there's no one that can explain this, and this is why no one will touch me, because they understand, these frauds, these Satanists know why this is occurring, why they have to keep lying to the Mexicans and buying them off concerning about who I am, what I was involved with, not by my own, allowing someone to experiment on me as a child, stuff me with implants, trauma-based mind control. All right. This is the other thing too. You always hear people, people have choices in life. Just so you people out there in the fairy tale land known as social media, there's individuals, children, that never had a choice. They weren't allowed to live a life that were able to, educate themselves, become an adult, a kind, caring, thoughtful, open-minded adult who would care for children, care for their neighbors, care for their family. Instead, these individuals needed to be stopped. And the only way you can do this is by getting to them as children and destroy their innocence and try to lead them down into a path of perverseness. So, with this particular flyover, what was interesting about it is we're going to see there was actually two of them. And let's see if I can do that. Okay, right here. This is what is interesting, this aspect of what they're trying to do. Whoops, see that? There we go, folks. See, I messed this up. Now, where was I? Right here. Okay. You gotta bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, right there. There's two of them. Now watch this. Watch this. Do you see how the one's lighting up and there's the other one? Do you see that, people? Okay. Now, Sugarfilled, I don't know who you are, but you're on a long list of dopey comment perps that have came and went trying to mock me concerning these flyovers. And it's appalling to see the ignorance on social media and the effort that these Satanists go through to try to cover this up. Now, am I Chapo? Am I Pablo Escobar? What is this about? See, what they do is, concerning the targeting, if a person's really being stalked and harassed, or let's say they are under investigation for possibly committing a crime. Now, let me ask you, anywhere in the world, anybody that opens up an investigation, what's the first thing that you need to do? Well, look for witnesses, right? To try to gather evidence to see if someone actually truly intentionally committed a crime. Now, once you see the years roll by and the individual that's trying to defend him or herself, protect themselves, protect their credibility, at some point, the general public has to scratch their heads and be like, wow, this investigation, these Sherlock Holmes are still investigating. Why can't they figure nothing out? And one of the things that you normally do, too, when you investigate someone is you question them. You question them. Now, just by merely sitting out on the street in front of someone's house, does that qualify as an investigation? Is this a demonstration of someone that takes their job seriously? Now, see, I make fun of these Mexicans down here because none of them will even come talk to me. But again, my beef is not with the Mexicans. They are being used by these American Nazi Edomite Jew Satanists, and they don't get that because all they know is they've been poor, tired, hungry, oppressed, and they're sick of it. And if this is a way for them to make money, because the Satanists flooded money down here in Rosarito, all right, to, hey, everybody thinks this is great now, there's jobs, all this is never going to end now. This is our time because we deserve this. We've suffered enough. These white people have held us back. So if they got to turn a blind eye to all this, right? And you should see these neighborhood stalkers that got involved. A lot of them are older, and they walk around like these zombies now because they don't know what they're doing. Now, these perp academies are really piss poor. And it's funny because they pimp out their sons and daughters, and so they walk around. None of them got their hand signals straight. You should see this. It's a vaudeville act. But again, who would do an investigation now, 8 years later, never question anybody? How could, are you proud? Like, what are these people doing to help their country in Mexico by stalking a American satanic ritual abuse survivor, which it's just a harassment game at this point? If I was such this criminal, don't you think that if these investigators really cared about trying to solve a crime? Now, do you think this Community Watch, do you think that these investigations concerning these cartel types, what do you think goes on with them? What if one of the dangerous cartel individuals from last month that was walking around with a loaded AR-15 and there was a big shootout? Where was the Community Watch then to let the investigators know that a dangerous criminal was in their neighborhood? What do you think happened, folks, when the shootings start? They all ran back and hid under their beds because they're hypocrites. Where was this Community Watch? Where are they when cars are being stolen on a daily basis down here in Rosarito Beach, Tijuana, wherever? All right? It's a hell of a thing to see the hypocrisy. Where were these Community Watch people when the cartel is running drugs through their town. Where are they? Are they peeking out the window? Or do you think they're hiding under their beds? So yes, you see this, sugar-filled, but you are bought and paid perp because you still, this last upload concerning this helicopter that was directly over my house going back and forth. Why was that? Why couldn't it find another location to fly over? Now, again, I know this is never going to stop as far as the dopey comment perps that keep showing up. And what's amazing too on BitChute is, man, to see these so-called patriots, they're still yapping about Q and Trump and all that. They don't get it. It's a done deal. The tribulation's starting. And it's just like the whole thing is to hide the fact that pretty soon, yes, the stores are going to close, the lights are going to go out, the food's drying up, no more money, no more work. No more work. They're all going to be, the Camaro Clown Club stalkers will be put out of business. Who would do that? All right? If I was part of this big stolen car caper, right? You would think that that these idiots that are driving around all these Camaros all these years would say to themselves, wow, like why are we still doing this? It's just, you know, they don't know when to quit, I guess. So, very interesting. Now, look, right there you can see, but I'm going to do a better one now for you guys. And I'm going to try to wrap this up because this just, it's bizarre that this continues. So let's see where we're at here. Okay. They officially lost it. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get you a good one, folks. All right. Thursday. Okay. Now, you people talk about UFOs, right? Thursday. Right? They're supposed to be these unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomenon. And once you see mainstream media where you get the Tucker Carlsons starting to discuss this, you know that you're coming towards the end. All right? When these subjects that would have 20, 30 years ago were unheard of, that these people would have never, ever, it was left, you know, to these so-called conspiracy theorists, right? But again, why are these flyovers occurring? And let's look at this right there. Now, Sugarfield, I know you can see that circular, spherical, round disc above the American Nazi Edomite Jew perp plane. And I know you have eyes, and I know you're watching right now, Sugarfield, and the others too. I want you to know that when I'm gone, you see that? You see how that appears and disappears? Folks, do you see that? I just want you to know that I did my best to inform you that hell on earth is coming, the tribulation's coming, and God's going to redeem his elect. Now, the question is, are all the elect satanic ritual abuse survivors? Well, I am going to say no, that wouldn't be the case, but I would say that these individuals are very beat down. They've been hassled their whole life, and they would have been tracked from birth. And all this, I can pretty much guarantee you that these individuals were identified a long time ago, decades ago. Now, what do? We continue to make these videos to try to inform people that could care less. Again, I gotta go back to Mexico because I'm here. But remember, if I was in China, I'd be complaining about the Chinese because they'd be doing the same thing. The same thing as the South Americans. All right? They want to live in denial. And the worst part is, yes, they are predominantly Catholic. The Catholic religion rules the roost, which their doctrine is this is an ongoing situation. But these wonderful Mexican people have no clue that they're being lied to. How do we change that? I can't change that. They look at me as just, I'm a piggy bank, and that's what they look at as America as. Just, they need the Jew buck. They don't care how they get it. It's not about becoming American. It's all about the money. So, you know, I've given them now over 7 years witness concerning my situation. Not one adult will step forward. Some of them, the ones that are trying to help me, they understand it. But again, it's just that, you know, they can't take that leap and begin to defend their own people. I'm down here trying to defend them, actually, and they don't even realize it. And that's what I don't get about these neighbors. Because some of these neighbors, they knew me before the slander campaign. And then after, slowly but surely, they got involved in this community watch, where they've done shit for their country. They're, you know, done nothing at all. So it's like, am I in the kick the dust off my feet moment? Or should I just keep continuing, you know, trying to talk to people that could care less about the truth? They could care less about their own people, more or less, than an American. And they have no clue that these Satanists have taken over their country a long time ago. And now they let China in. They've got no clue when the invasion starts that the Chinese are going to just round them all up too. They could give a shit about these Mexicans. They're only here to get close to the United States and to figure out when this is all going to go down, which is going to be soon, coming up very soon. Now, I've been stating 2023, going all the way back to the beginning when I started this in 2016 concerning Montauk. Other people understand when the fireworks are really going to start. So, you know, you can have your little fantasy world where, oh yeah, UFOs, ooh, okay. The military industrial satanic complex. Yeah, well, I guess it's time to put the wraps on this one, people. I'm kind of exhausted from all this, and it might be time to take a break. Definitely not going away. And, you know, feel free. You dopey comment perps are getting clever, though. Like these, what was the last one? Freckles. We'll go over Freckles here, too, but can I give you one more, folks? One more. Let's do this. Let's go back to March 18th, 2019. Monday, March 18th, 2019. Purple alert. Direct overhead. Let's see if we can get this. this, folks. Watch this right. See that right there? They're all zipping around, these fallen angels. Okay, right? Right there. Keep your eyes on that. See that zipping up and down? Folks, I pray for you people that you wake up. You don't need to get your head chopped off. What you need to do is start paying attention. And what you do is, when these frauds pop up on social media, you point them out. And you put them in their place. And then you get on your knees and start praying that the day of the Lord, when it arrives, you will be spared.